Newsflash, hurricanes are expensive.
We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
Being New Orleans natives ourselves, we've had our own fair share of hurricanes, with each one bringing a new set of challenges. But what's the most expensive hurricane ever? To start off our list, we have Hurricane Irma. This storm made landfall in the U.S. on September 10th, 2017 in Cudjoe Key, Florida as a Category 4 storm. Making its way up Florida into the Georgia and Alabama area, this storm peaked as a Cat 5 with 180 miles per hour winds. The West Indies with the Caribbean took a big hit as the storm went through them on its way to the United States. This storm was estimated to have cost $77.6 billion in damages, along with the loss of 134 lives. $50 billion and 92 of those lives lost came from the U.S., with Florida getting hit the hardest. Roughly 73% of the state was without electricity after the storm, paired with the heavy rainfall and storm surge, making the devastation massive. Even states further north, such as South Carolina, witnessed record levels of storm surge and power outages. Irma is also the costliest hurricane to ever hit Cuba, costing an estimated $13.2 billion in damages down there. Like any other major disaster, its aftermath brings its own set of challenges. Ports and airports along Irma's path received immense damage, reducing the speed in which supplies and aid workers could reach the hardest hit areas. While most people assume that hurricanes mainly impact the southern states, Superstorm Sandy demonstrated the huge range that these storms can have. Sandy became a tropical storm just a mere 6 hours after forming in the Caribbean back in 2012. Now, being a slower moving storm, it would intensify as it moved up north, hitting Jamaica, Cuba, and passing through the Bahamas. Sandy finally hit the New Jersey coast as a Category 2 storm. However, the massive 1,150 mile diameter made it to where some states like Maryland would receive over a foot in rainfall, while others in its path would barely even get an inch. Areas in New York City and New Jersey had an insane storm surge to deal with. Over 13 inches hit lower Manhattan, meaning the underground subway system got massive damage, and even the New York Stock Exchange had to be closed down due to weather for the first time since 1985. In total, the storm would impact 24 states, reaching into Canada with Quebec and Ontario. The biggest storm of 2012 would take a total of 233 lives and cost over $77.4 billion. The third most expensive hurricane brings us all the way back to 2017, this time with Maria. Forming on September 16th, less than a week after the previous Hurricane Irma, Maria will quickly reach Category 5 strength before hitting Dominica only 2 days later, bringing massive devastation with it. The destruction would also impact Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, to name a few. 85% of Dominica's housing was destroyed during the storm, along with power, water, and even agricultural land was left in ruins. It is reported that every single one of Dominica's 73,000 residents felt some impact from the storm. Puerto Rico did not fare much better. The power system was almost completely destroyed, and even a month after the storm, only 12% of the island had electricity. Less than 400 miles of roads were left open, forcing many rescue workers to use helicopters to bring in the much-needed supplies and aid. Recovery and rebuilding is still ongoing on the island due to the level of devastation. In total, Hurricane Maria caused $98.1 billion of damage, along with taking 3,059 lives. Number 4 on our list keeps us in the busy season of 2017. Hurricane Harvey was the first major hurricane of that year, forming on August 17th. The storm would pass over the Caribbean, bringing a few inches of rain along the way, along with some minor damage. Once past these islands, the storm would intensify greatly, reaching Category 4 strength. Texas would receive the full brunt of the storm, making its way inland. However, Harvey slowed dramatically, resulting in a massive amount of rainfall as the storm moved backwards back into the Gulf. It would then move to Louisiana, still dumping rain on Texas coast. Moving northeast, the storm would eventually dissipate on August 31st. In terms of damage, Texas suffered a huge hit. The slow nature of the storm resulted in a massive amount of rainfall. Many areas in Houston received over 30 inches of rain, some seeing as much as 9 inches in just 90 minutes. Nederland, a city in East Texas, saw over 60 inches of rain over the course of the storm. Over 17,000 rescues were initiated to rescue people caught in the rapidly rising floods. It's reported that 500,000 vehicles were damaged from the flooding. This storm is also responsible for 107 deaths and costing $136 billion in damages. Finally, we have the costliest hurricane ever. A storm which brought a level of devastation never before seen, taking over 1,800 lives and changing a city forever. The most expensive hurricane is Katrina. Forming August 23, 2005, the storm would push through southern Florida and emerge in the Gulf of Mexico. Here, the warm water strengthened her into a Category 5. On August 29th, the storm would hit the state of Louisiana as a Category 3. New Orleans is a unique city, as a large majority of it sits at or below sea level, so it is reliant on the levee system to keep waters out. Similar to a bowl, if one side breaks, the bowl will fill up rapidly, and Katrina broke the bowl. Major breaches in the levee system resulted in over 80% of the city flooding. While a large number of the residents did evacuate, Katrina still took over 1,800 lives on her path through the United States. When the storm finally dissipated, it left behind a wake of destruction. It was months before people could return to their homes and begin cleaning. Buildings were damaged. Infrastructure needed to be repaired. When adjusting for inflation, Katrina is the costliest hurricane ever at over $176 billion. Even today, 16 years later, the scars from the storm are still present throughout the city. For any of our viewers who were impacted by the recent Hurricane Ida, we truly hope that you were safe. Here at the Financial Fixation, we were all able to make it out safe and sound, minus a few trees, fences, and other minor damage. Things for us personally are more or less back to normal down here. That being said, we're going to be kicking our content back up, so if you like videos like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are super excited about breaking the 200 subscriber milestone, and are looking forward to the continued growth. If you made it this far, thanks for watching until the end. I'm Dominic, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.